This is a horrific anti-Semitic attack.
Pull the other one!
Right, people, let's get to the bottom of this one. In the early hours of yesterday morning, 4 charity ambulances were set on fire in the London borough of Golders Green, which has a large Jewish population. As the evidence was still being gathered, and before any official police statement on the matter was put out, the Prime Minister and the mainstream media felt confident enough to dramatically, publicly, and very preemptively label this as an anti-Semitic attack.
This is a horrific anti-Semitic attack.
But was it though? How do they know this wasn't just a random arson attack, an insurance job, or even a false flag attack intended to heighten racial tension, frame Iran, and garner sympathy for Zionist Israel at the same time? Let's see what's happening. Extraordinary claims require equally extraordinary proof, and the knee-jerk reaction in assuming the racial motivations of this crime was certainly lacking when it comes to that criteria. Let's start with a few obvious facts, and then we'll look into some suspiciously convenient circumstances for those trying to label this as a hate crime. First off, ambulances do not practice religion. Yes, while the ambulances in question serve a community that's mostly made up of Jews, they are not themselves Jewish or exclusively used by people of the Jewish faith. Anybody who lives in the area, regardless of which faith they have or do not have, are welcome to use them any time. They're essentially the equivalent of St. John's Ambulance, the Red Cross, or the Red Crescent.
Everybody got that? Good!
So, if, say, a St. John's ambulance gets set ablaze in a rough neighbourhood in the capital, do the press and politicians assume that it was a targeted attack against Christians? No, they do not. Did the 3 perpetrators attack the synagogue literally yards away from where the ambulances were parked? No, they did not. Did they take just a few seconds to write any anti-Semitic messages or offensive far-right racist symbols on the walls or on the pavement during their crime, thus showing their motivations and spelling a warning to the local community because of its majority faith? No, they did not. And I wonder why that might be. A few other strange things seem to crop up when looking at the footage and facts surrounding this incident. As if they knew exactly what they were doing, the 3 people who approached the ambulances had exactly what they needed to carry out this endeavour, and in very short time as well. The whole thing took just a few moments, and despite the police arriving just a few minutes later, the trio of apparent perpetrators disappeared into the night and then into thin air without a trace. The entire might of the Met couldn't track them down, even though the streets were empty, and this took place in the city with more CCTV cameras per capita than anywhere else in the world. No other footage or pictures of the suspects had been issued, not even heavily pixelated, blurred, unidentifiable images with "Have you seen these men?" at the top. Nothing. Not a thing.
Curiouser and curiouser.
If you think that's curious, then how about the fact that a whole heap of press managed to get on scene within moments of the police as well, just 12 minutes after the event took place in fact, which, as you can see by the timestamp, was at around 25 minutes to 2 in the morning. Remarkably quick for that time of day, wouldn't you say so?
Curiouser and curiouser.
There's also just as much, if not more, evidence to suggest that this could be a case of insurance fraud rather than a racial attack. I mean, did you happen to know that the vehicles in question were about to be decommissioned and naturally would be covered by an insurance company in the case of a fire? Now that's right, they certainly were, and given the fact that a crowdfunder has already hit £1.4 million at the time of posting this video, and that
But shut up, Wesley!
Streeting has also said that the replacements will be paid for by the state, somebody just found themselves on the receiving end of a nice fat 7-figure windfall. Very convenient, is it not?
Damn right!
I mean, for all we know, this could simply be 3 misguided lads who had nothing better to do on a Sunday night than burn up the nearest thing that they could find, but I strongly suspect not. While there's zero evidence that this was an anti-Semitic attack aside from the area it happened in, there are details that this could be a case of a false flag operation in action. Not only the convenience and the efficiency that I mentioned earlier, as well as the fortunate absence of injury or loss of life, but the very style itself simply does not fit with the known current methods of the Islamic group that people are trying to pin this on. Put simply, they do not attack ambulances, and if they have done, then in this case, it's certainly without precedent. There is one nation, though, who are pretty hot on attacking emergency service vehicles. Israel. Yes, I'm sure many of you will recall how the IDF attacked UNRWA ambulances and ritually executed paramedics in Gaza before Netanyahu decided to ban the international aid agency outright. In fact, this incident came on the very anniversary of one such attack. A staggering coincidence? Maybe make your minds up yourself, but if one thing might convince you that this was an inside job, then look no further than the reaction, the hyperbole and the drama that swiftly followed on television, radio and online.
This is a horrific anti-Semitic attack.
Pull the other one.
And of course, my thoughts, I think all of our thoughts, will be with those in the vicinity, the residents who are understandably very concerned, a Jewish community across the country deeply concerned. I've already been in touch with community leaders this morning and will continue to do so during the day. But anti-Semitism has no place in our society, and it's really important that we all stand together at a moment like this.
That was the biggest load of crap I've ever heard.
Acting not only as former Director of Public Prosecutions, but as judge, jury and executioner in a TV appearance, the Prime Minister could not wait to inform us that this was clearly an anti-Semitic attack, even though evidence is still being gathered, and that we should all be horrified even though there were zero casualties. And if this had happened to any other type of ambulance in an area of any other demographic structure, then Starmer wouldn't even make a passing comment about it on his social media, let alone fall over himself to make a direct address to the nation.
Damn right!
The reaction has all the telltale signs of other times when the government has tried to pull the wool over our eyes at the behest of a foreign state. Starmer himself will never find himself on the Best Actor reel at the Oscars with performances like this, and nor will he find himself winning the World Poker Series as his telltale red complexion appears yet again, as it does whenever he's pushing a lie to the public. It also just so happens that this official narrative would fit in perfectly with the wishes of his financial backers and fellow members of Labour Friends of Israel. Again, very convenient, isn't it? The heightened sense of fear that he's trying to instill and the twisting of facts and stats on racism in the UK simply doesn't cut it either.
Pathetic!
Finally, I'll point out this observation, which doesn't do Starmer's claims any favours either. You can bet your life that in any other circumstances, immediately following an attack on property or even people by unknown perpetrators, while speaking to the media, we'd normally see a very generic and unsubstantial response along the lines of, "I won't comment on an active investigation at this time," and "I'll wait to hear the official statement from the police before doing so," that type of thing. But in this case, he already seems to have every fact of the matter in front of him and can disclose it to the public as well as the motivations without fear of speaking too soon or it being proven otherwise in the future, even though the Metropolitan Police had not stated any conclusion on motivation or the suspects in question whatsoever. Why is that? What do you make of all this? Was it as the official narrative says, or is something else at play? Let us know in the comments below. As always, your feedback is very welcome. Thanks a lot for watching to the end of the video. If you'd like to help the channel out a bit more, then please check out some of our other content and hit various supportive buttons such as like and subscribe. Super thanks are also open, and there's a link to our Buy Me a Coffee page in the description of this video. If you want to go a step further, then hit the join button, and for only 99p you can enjoy exclusive perks like members only videos and early viewings, plus lots more, and you get to join the list of awesome people that you can see on your screen right now. As always, your contributions are much appreciated. Thanks again, people. My left eye will be seeing you soon.